Hello my quilting family. We're here with yet another installment of the Friendship Star case study. Today we're going to cover add-ons or stitch and flip corners. These are really popular right now with a lot of the quilters, and I'm going to make sure you understand how to do them so that we're successful at them. So come a little closer. I'll show you how to do the blocks, and then I'll show you the blocks I made. Okay, so we're at the sewing machine, and you can see I've drawn my lines from corner to corner. Now, there's sometimes you just want to be like a hair one way, and if you're going to be a hair one way, you want to be a thread one way, thread width away. So you're not sewing directly on the line, you're kind of sewing off to it. Now you line up your little square to your big square as best as you can. This is a 4.5 inch square and this is a 2.5 inch square. So now we're going to sew, and we're going to try and sew just a hair width away. So it's just touching that corner. And now I'm just going to run some leader ender through. A little leader ender just to make the sewing work a little smoother. Okay, now I'm going to clip this off. Now you work from across, like you go here and then you would go here. So, and I guess you know what I'm going to show you? So now, once you see how this is sewn, right? And I'm just kissing this line, that pencil line. So now when I fold this over, I can just finger press it to see if it works. Now, it's covering everything from the front, right? I mean, I know there's a little wobble in there, but it's covering everything from the front. Is it covering everything from the back? Now, I can't see that block peeking through, so I'm making the assumption it's lined right on, right? So now, once I've verified that I've sewn the right size, now I take this from behind and I clip my corner and leaving a good healthy, 1/4 inch. And then I take these and I run them through the sewing machine to make hourglass blocks or pinwheels or whatever, right? If I'm making a pinwheel, I run it this way. If I'm making hourglass blocks, I run it along one of the corners, but then all this side is biased. So it's whatever you choose to do with your flip and stitch. Okay, I'm just dying to show you which ones I've made. So I'm going to show you the blocks I made. I was so happy with this, and the surprise I made too, because I promised you guys a surprise this time. So this is where we do the flip and stitch corners in the center, and that's the only thing I did on this block. So I used 2.5 inch squares, and I did the flip and stitch all around all 4, right? So that's what that gives. Now, the curved look is you take a 3.5 inch square of fabric and you fold it over, double it, and then you sew it all the way around the outside or the center block, and then you pull back that top to create a gentle curve. So this creates a very different look than this block, right? Do you see what I'm talking about? And this is what the block looks like from behind. So you can see I stitched around within the seam allowance to secure this the pressed over squares, and then I sewed back the seams to create that curve. And then we're here. I'm going to get my cameraman to put it up a little bit closer for you. So it creates a curve, a very gentle curve, but it is noticeable, right? Like when you show them the back again, and show them the back. Okay, so you can see where I sewed the squares in place, and then I sewed the seam, right? So I sewed the squares in place, I sewed the curves, and then I sewed it into the block. So that's how you handle those things. Now, I'm doing my own long arming, or or my own quilting. I love a long arm, but I don't know where I put it in my house. So here's another one. Now this is where we're playing with the outside corner of the friendship star. We're going to start playing here with this stitch and flip. And it's kind of like a big brother, little brother block. It gives kind of a cute little motif to this all of a sudden. And here we are with the 3.5 inch curves. Similar, but not quite. It does give a different look to the block. And again, we're playing with that swooped out, you know, that carved out look from the friendship star. And here it is with the curved block. Now you can see it actually starts to look rounded, right? The whole thing starts to look rounded. And then of course, we have to do them with both, right? Both curves in and out. So it kind of looks, it just gives it a different aesthetic, right? Different aesthetic. And here's the one with the 2.5 inch squares. Just cute. Just something different to think about, you know, when you're doing blocks. Now we start playing with the triangles, the half square triangles here. And this is the 2.5 inch square. That, it looks like you've pieced that square where essentially it's just a stitch and flip or an add-on. And here is it with a curve. And that's lovely, soft. It's great. And of course we have to play on both sides of this point now to create this block. And it looks all of a sudden more complex. It doesn't look like a friendship star at all. It looks like we've done some really, you know, wonky piecing. And here is the block still with the curves. Now on the back, that's what it looks like. Right? Because I didn't cut away to reduce bulk or anything. I just, you know, put the curves on there and they're going to be fine. And of course, you know, you got to go with all 3 corners. This is the look you would get from all 3 corners. It kind of looks like a star going nova, you know, kind of like with shooting out stuff. And again, this is with the curves. More dramatic because the curves are darker. And, you know, you go to the store and they have the bagels with everything. I love the bagels with everything because it's everything from sesame seeds to cheese. It's wonderful. So when you're quilting, think about this too. What if I do everything? And I was kind of surprised at the dynamic block I got. So this is the block with everything, with a 2.5 inch, with 2.5 inch squares sewn on it. Now, if you just want to get a little closer look, there it is. And can you show them the back? Well, show them the back of the block. So that looks, you can see where the half square triangles were, and you can see where the square is and all this stuff, and how they all meet up together. I thought when you do this to a block and you piece this with another block, you would have little squares joining here. Like you could have, this would turn into a really cool quilt because depending on how you flipped your points on your half square triangle, you could have these nest together and have an effect all throughout the quilt. And this, of course, is what it looks like when it's curved. I just love this look. I think it is a very dramatic look, and it kind of takes you away on a curvy ride. It's like riding the roller coaster of quilting. When you look at the back, you can see the squares have been pieced in place. The folded over squares have been pieced in place within the seam allowance. So you're only doing 1/8 seam to hold the squares in place. Then you piece it with a 1/4 inch seam. So that's how you do those cathedral-like stars or curves. They're not. It's a cheater cathedral star is what it is. So I hope you try these. There was so much fun, and it really did use up a lot of my scraps doing these blocks. So I hope you conquer your Mount Scrapmount with this idea or similar ideas to it. It would be so much fun to see what you're doing. Okay, I hope you have a great week and have fun sewing. Bye! If you have questions about what you saw in this video, or you have ideas for content or something you want to see us do, please put those comments in the description below. But also, while you're there, like, share, and subscribe with your friends. That would really help us out. Okay, I want to thank you and have a great day.